All right.
All right,
How's
perfect.
it going, Phil?
I'm going good.
Been a little bit.
We'll see. I gotta stop now. It has been a little bit. We've needed to go for a while. Just ran out of time.
A lot of things happen, huh?
Yeah. A couple of really good shows. IMTS has come and gone. We've had some great time. I finally moved into my new house with my blank walls. I have a new office. It is nice. I don't have people below me stomping and screaming anymore, except for my dogs and my cats. They're always screaming, but it's a quiet house. So it is perfect.
It's
We
always
got
good.
to,
And where's
yeah.
that at again?
And we're in Victoria, Canada, way in the west coast by Seattle, right by the water. Yeah.
What's the weather like?
The weather, classic question. No, well, I mean, it's getting wintry. It's probably still, I don't know, 60s for you freedom loving folks. A little bit cloudy today. Normally it's blue skies and sunny weather. We'll take it. I'll take the rain over the 6 feet of snow we got in Calgary any day. Mm-hmm. Jeez. Yeah, that's a bit too warm.
So jump right into it. IMTS. What happened?
Yeah.
Did you go?
Oh, I did go, and I saw a few people there, like yourself. Had a couple of good times. And it was my first year not attending as just a participant, but actually being there with the booth. So that was interesting. Normally I'm running around looking at all the cool tech, but this time I just got to run around and meet a bunch of cool people instead. So that was a different experience, but it was good. I quite enjoyed it. I don't think I saw half the show, but met some pretty cool people. Talked to a lot of neat shop owners. Yeah, I got to hear all the same struggles. No one can find work, or no one can find workers. They got lots of work. Pretty standard. Now they're just looking for robots.
I mean, that's pretty standard.
Yeah, not bad.
Did you see anything at the show that you liked? That was interesting.
I for the few places that I went, I saw a couple pretty trick little things. That Kitamura, that med axis, whatever you want to call it, that 5-axis. I think our buddy with the pallet changer, our buddy at Broken Taps got one. Or Breaking Taps. That is a trick little machine for a tiny 5-axis with pallets. I would toss one of those in my garage after I built my garage. I would have one. Those are pretty trick little machines.
Yeah, and he was kind of telling us the price on it too. I didn't think that expensive.
No, it was like pretty much mid-range price. It was awesome. Yeah, I can't quite remember. Somewhere in the 4s, 5s, or something like that, but 3s. I don't know.
U.S. prices, not.
Oh yeah, freedom prices. Yeah, none of our Looney Tunes dollars we got here.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some things that thought were pretty interesting. Other types of companies make out of the show. Awesome stuff that was for the shunks. I thought was good.
Yeah, nice. Looks like your mic's cutting out on the YouTube feed. So.
Oh, is it cutting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brett.
I might be a little bit too far away from my. But yeah, can you guys hear me all right? So yeah, we were worked the show the whole time. Had a couple events there. There was like a Haas event. We had some events at our booth nightly and whatnot. So those went pretty well. Got to meet a lot of customers. Got to meet a lot of new people. A lot of people that I've talked to on the phone for the past couple of years or whatever. Got to meet them in person. So that was pretty nice. To be able to see customers that we've helped out sometimes on a daily basis and whatnot.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. It was actually really great to have the Fusion meetup again, or the Instant Machinist meetup. It's been a couple of years, and it was great to see a bunch of new people and put names to faces and have some chats with people you've known for years, but you've never actually met them before. It was nice to kind of see, nice to finally meet the Titan rings. Yeah, I've been drooling over those little pieces that he makes. Those are so cool. So it's finally actually great to meet him.
All right, yeah, those little the snap rings.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it makes my wife and I made our wedding rings, and I was almost afraid to have that on my hand when he was around. It's like, don't look at my work.
You made both rings, or your wife just spun up the lathe too and started making it?
Oh yeah, she just wrote the program and did it herself. I just stood back like a proper programmer and did nothing.
My wife would never.
Yeah, I mean the machine crashed, but it's not a big deal.
Oh, I mean,
yeah, allegedly, yeah. Yeah, no, IMTS was a great time. It was definitely different being on the show side rather than the spectator side.
Yeah, it's I've allegedly kind of worked the show a couple times, like I would say half-assed. This is the first time I was actually at like a booth the entire time. I've been to other shows where I've had to work, obviously not IMTS. Always lived in the area. I've always went, kind of as an employee machinist, looking at dreaming of 5-axes eventually, and then we got some. And but yeah, I always like going there and looking at technology, seeing new machines, things like that. What we could maybe look at bringing into the shop, seeing new technology, stuff that comes out, new machine tools. I went to DMG. They had that little. You went too. You went with me, right?
Yeah, we hung out there. Missed all the food. That was upsetting.
Yeah, we went a little late on the last day, but they had that NLX 500 or whatever, or what is it?
Oh yeah, it's that little their Wilhelm style machine. Oh man, that is a dream machine. That thing's amazing. Anything with robots, multi-axis, a bunch of little robot arms, dual spindles, all that good stuff. That is my jam. I have to have one of those somewhere just to play around with. So if you have one and you're local, just let me come over and play. Please. Dying to get back on a machine just for some fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Wilhelm was giving away those little vices. I think they had a couple other things, whatever, but I snuck in there, got myself.
Oh yeah, those guys. I love the Wilhelms, love the crew. My very first IMTS, I went there. I walked into the booth, and the first thing one of their apps guys said, I've never met any of these guys before. And he walks right up to me. He's like, "Hey, Dr. Phil, did you pick your Metsura up yet?" And I was like, right after ours had fell over when they shipped it. It's like, oh man, I haven't been in this booth for 3 seconds, and they're already making fun of me.
Well, I mean, you didn't drop the
classic
machine,
guys. Yeah, no, of course not.
Somebody else dropped it.
Yeah, gravity, allegedly.
Yeah. So, any exciting stories happened while you were there?
Oh man. Well, let's just say some people got a little bit aggressive. They didn't like Jeff's business plan of making dildos. So, or was it butt plugs? I think Jeff has a whole shop making butt plugs. Someone didn't like that answer.
Yeah, pretty aggressive.
Pretty aggressive, which was hilarious because I just thought he was joking, but no, someone was pretty mad.
I did think he was joking until he started kind of rushing us and screaming obscenities.
Yeah.
I wasn't even. I'm glad I did go out with you that night because I was just sitting in my hotel room, kind of beat after. Was it the first day? Yeah, it was the first day.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Jeff's coming. I might go out. I'm like, man, it's midnight. I'm gonna retire to my quarters. And I was trying to update my phone and do all this stuff. And you're like, man, I'm going. I'm like, man, I can't let this little dude, run around Chicago by himself. I got to go babysit him. My prized employee. And,
yeah, just for reference for people, a little Canadian, my arms are sticks. They barely support the weight of my own hands. So I definitely need some bodyguards out there in Chicago.
And I'm probably twice your size. I probably got a good.
Yeah, one or two.
And so I came out, and then we went to the rooftop bar. Was it the London House?
Yeah, the London House.
Yeah.
The whole building is swaying.
Yeah, we got up on the roof and I was scaring some people because I was like, I feel the roof like swaying right now. And I was trying to like sight this awning to this next building and see if they were moving kind of in unison. But they were like, oh man, now that you said something, I really noticed it. And as soon as we get up there, I kind of noticed like it was. And yeah, we went downstairs, met up with some friends, and then that guy was getting kind of aggressive. We were just joking with him, you know what I mean, playing around. He was asking what we were doing, telling him we're pretend machinists and whatnot.
Which we are.
I mean, yeah, that's basically all we do, right? Just help customers. Got a little aggressive, closed down the first bar upstairs, and then we went downstairs to the other bar and closed that one down. As we were walking out, the guy was kind of, talking to everybody, getting loud or whatever. And I think Jeff tried to hug him in the elevator and then just started screaming at him. And that was the point for me where I was like, oh, like this dude's like getting a little bit over the line. And then when we got out of the elevator, he started yelling at Jeff even more. And I saw you and a couple other, and whoever were, Kyle, we're like, oh, let's get out of here, guys, whatever. And we start going. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize this guy was like actually upset. So we kind of all went outside and
yeah.
And he started basically chasing after us, or like briskly walking towards us, yelling at us, calling us pussies and whatnot. And then I told you guys, I was like, hey, stop. Like, I can definitely handle this guy if he comes over here. And I thought it was funny. But
oh yeah, it was a time. It was a time. It was an interesting experience.
Definitely getting upset because real machine.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't making those John Deere tractor knobs.
So, I mean, that happened. Did you eat any good food?
Oh man, other than we went to that Brazilian steakhouse. Was that the second night? Monday or Tuesday?
It was the second night.
Anyway, we had a reservation for 7:30. We show up at 7. When did we get seated? 10? Like, I think we were there for 2 hours waiting. Past our reservation.
I was pretty famished because I was starving myself because I thought I was going to be able to eat pretty well, and that didn't turn out to be the case. We had to wait. I was literally like on my way to walk back to the hotel because I was like, man, if we wait any longer. I've never been to a restaurant and blew past the 2-hour reservation. Our reservation was for 7:15, and I think we got sat at like 9.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, that place was full. I felt pretty bad for the wait staff there. There was
a lot of people in there.
Yeah. Food was amazing, though. Great salads.
IMTS.
Yeah. It's probably like that every night.
25.
Yeah, that was a bit wild. We went to some other steakhouse, too. I have a horrible memory, but man, that was pretty delicious. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like 90% vegetarian. We only have salads in the house. Because of your wife, though. Because of my wife,
you got a lot of machinists watching this, Phil. You can't just be telling everybody you're...
Yeah, vegetarian, as I like to say.
Phil's a vegetarian because it's convenient for him for cooking with it. But
yeah, exactly.
Allegedly eat by himself.
Yeah, so that was quite that was a lot of meat that trip. I was a little backed up, let's just say that afterwards. But no, it was good. Good trip. And that freaking guy with the jetpack, I have never...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one. I have seen all those videos for years, and I always thought, it's fake. It's just some YouTube tricks. And no, that guy was really flying around. I was looking up, trying to wave my hand over to see if there's a crane lifting him up. But, oh, man, that stuff's real.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. They can fit that kind of energy to those 4 little jets that he holds on his hand. Whatever honestly. The propellant is coming out of that pack is pretty wild.
That would rip my arms off. Like, take my arms straight out of the sockets. I don't know how he can hold that. That seems ridiculous.
I mean, you gotta be able to do like a...
You gotta be jacked. I can barely lift myself out of this chair. Yeah, no, that was IMTS pretty rad show. I quite enjoyed it. It was a good time. If anyone was there and was on our bus, we got T-boned by some little
way there one.
Yeah, some guy's little BMW. Felt like our bus just hit a tiny pothole, but destroyed his car.
Yeah. I I wasn't sitting by the window. I was sitting right next to you. All of a sudden, it was just I thought we hit like a deep pothole, and then everybody was just like on the
Yeah.
bus,
Oh
and I was like,
God.
man, what? I was like, what happened? I really didn't understand. They're like, oh man, we just hit a car. I was like, oh, and we got
Yeah.
out, and that I have a picture of this thing was demolished. It ripped,
Yeah. It was.
ripped basically the front end of it off. I'm gonna just my
Yeah. Like destroys this guy's car.
this is the
Yeah. It takes the front end out.
this is the front end of the car that got ripped off.
Was it just like knock the dust off the bus?
Yeah, the bus was literally nothing wrong with it. Nice Fusion advertisement on the side of the bus, but yeah, literally, like I don't even think it was dented. It just scratched the paint right there, and it messed up the hubcap and pulled all the covers off. But
Yeah. Nothing bad though.
The lady was like, "Stay here. There's another bus coming." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure we're close," and we were literally on the other side of the building. On
We're damn near across the street.
Building, yeah, we were pretty much across the street. We walked like one more block south, and I was like, "You're like, isn't that it right there?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's right there."
Man, I drank a lot of coffee that trip though. I was dying. I had a was like 10-hour layover on the way there and like a 12-hour layover on the way back. So I left my house at 6:30 Sunday afternoon, and I got to Chicago at 6:30 in the morning on the Monday. I had not slept in 2 days, and that just pretty much carried on for the whole week. I think I got a couple hours of sleep here and there, but I was dying. I think it was on the Wednesday. I was going around interviewing people for the DSi channel, and I'm trying to, like, people I've known for years, I'm trying to say hello to, and I cannot even remember their names. And I'm like, this is, I don't know. And this is where I'm like, oh, okay. I think I tried like 10 times to interview one guy, and I just was like, here, you take the mic and you introduce me because I can't handle this anymore. People are around like laughing because they can see the struggles I'm going through. Yeah, I was dying that week, but it was good. That's like 5 coffees a day.
To clarify for people, the reason your situation, like the airport you mainly fly out of, is a pretty major hub on the West Coast. I think maybe not. Not a pilot, allegedly, but you have to get off the island and then fly out of what?
Seattle? Yeah, Vancouver. So we got
Vancouver.
It's weird for those that don't know. Victoria, the city I'm in, is the capital of British Columbia, our province. But the airport is, I know you could probably fit 10 people in there. Like it's almost big enough to fly some Cessnas in or something. Like it's super tiny. So all of our major flights, we have to go all the way over to see Amish in Vancouver, catch an actual real plane and not a pretend one, and then fly everywhere. And of course, they only run flights between Victoria and Vancouver ever so often. So it's not direct flights. It's fly to Vancouver, sleep on a bench outside for 6 hours, then catch your flight and then head over.
You got to go from little island here.
Yeah. So that was a time. It was a good time. I slept on a bench on the way back. That was fantastic. They wouldn't let me into the gate because my flight was the next day, technically. I had to sleep out on some wooden bench almost near the exit. Oh, we got people like running their little Zambonis around, cleaning the floors. It was awful.
Yeah, I remember there was a time where you couldn't get into security sometimes 4 hours before your flight.
Yeah.
But I guess you're already at the airport. If you were a flight in, didn't leave, then that.
Yeah. But yeah, on the way back, I've never seen this before. I know we're talking a lot about planes, but finally saw drug dogs at an airport. That was like, never seen this in my life. I was starstruck almost. I was like, oh, a dog. I'm so excited. And I was telling the security people I've never seen this before. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Keep moving. What the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, no, dogs. I want to pet them. But no, you can't. They get quite upset if you go anywhere near them.
I have that I had that same problem with my daughter. She's always like, "Oh, can I pet that dog?" And I'm like, you don't know if that dog is like super vicious."
Yeah, that dog is rabid for sure.
I think everybody. I mean, maybe this is just my experience, but I got attacked by two Rottweilers when I was a kid, and I did not fear dogs at all before that. And once
Gee.
those dogs like attack me, man, I wouldn't even look at like a golden retriever and like pet it. And I don't know. I don't want her to get bit, but
Yeah, it's good for them, right? Kids are resilient.
so we have an event coming up.
We do, yeah. Well, yeah, tell us about that. It's pretty cool. It's in your neck of the woods ish. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea where your state is versus any other state.
So we are, and I say we, but Design and Software is holding kind of a annual. It's going to be like a user group meeting, but it's called the DSi Fusion Summit. It's going to be at Stewart Haas Racing in North Carolina. We are going to have obviously there from Autodesk, and essentially what it's going to be. You know, we've had a couple questions. People going, "Oh, is this like a sales pitch or something?" Anybody can come to this event, whether you're our customer or not. Obviously, love you to be. At the end of the day, I want this to be a group meeting. Al Watmo there talking a little, some of the stuff that's in Fusion now, some of the stuff we're working on. In the near future, we'll have some of the product managers there. Craig Chester, Riot, if you met him, he's awesome dude. He does questions about pick his. Got a lot of cool tricks inside of Fusion and what.
I think he's doing a big deep dive on 5-axis toolpaths too. Yeah, that'll be a good one. I'm excited for that one. Well, it should be quite a few little talks and chats. Yeah, if you can give actual devs, like Autodesk devs, your feedback and our feedback, and hopefully they'll listen and kind of make the software better, which is awesome. These are great kind of chances to get on that inside and actually have your input heard. And then we're Devin and I are going to be doing some classes. We got a few other people. The man himself, Mr. Saunders, is going to be there. We're going to do a little bit of a round table on kind of running shops between us. So I think a little bit of an AMA round table, so you can ask your questions about how we've gotten to where we are and kind of the steps we've taken, because we've all struggled too. Well, we're lucky that we've kind of gotten to the public face, but in reality, we've struggled for many, many years to get where we are. So yeah, it'll be nice to kind of talk to people, and we can spitball ideas with customers and other users too. And hopefully everyone will leave with a lot more knowledge, and maybe we can ride some cars or something, go racing.
Yeah. And we're going to have dinner the one night and then lunch both days. So, I mean, it'll be a good time. It is limited to a certain amount of people. So sign up. The tickets are going absolutely pretty quick. We will have a kind of a free event afterwards. It'll be the product managers and talk to with us. So.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to test your mic again too. It looks like it's a low volume. Both rocking the Sures.
Can you guys hear me now? That should be better.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you can hear Devin a bit better.
Yeah, sorry. The audio that I'm monitoring myself on, I'm using like the USB in the mic. So sorry for the bad portion on the first part of the podcast here, but
well, let's go back and redo it all again.
All right. So it should be good now. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a good time. It's December 6th and 7th. It's in North Carolina. Get out there, meet with us. It's going to be a good time. We can talk about Fusion, things like that. And if there's something we can help you out with, we do training, support, post processors, stuff like that all day. I think that's the best part about, working for a value added reseller, Phil, is like getting to help customers with their problems. Hey, I got this part, I need this, tool path or whatever, being able to hop on there and, help them solve their issues is really a big really a big rewarding thing for us, but I mean, it's also nice, you know, instead of, I used to scour YouTube videos going, man, how do I get this toolpath to do this? Or how do I get it to move, you know, the way that I want it to do? I mean, instead of watching all those videos and, you know, trying to figure it out or hoping you're, you know, going to find that part you need, you can just call us, you know, and send us a part over. We'll take a look at it. We'll help you out. You know, we offer support, you know, things like that. So, you know, even if you're not our customer, shoot us a question over and let's see what we can do to help you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're coming to the event or if you want to come, bring a computer, bring some parts that you're having troubles with. You got some questions, and like track us down, and we can just sit down together and kind of nerd out over toolpaths and kind of help anyone out with any questions or issues they've been having.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. I've never been to that side of the States. I think I've been down to Florida a couple of times, but it's far. That's about as where I've been. Have you ever actually been to North Carolina? I just assume it's, in my mind, I just assume it's a big open field. But I hear it's like Banff up here.
Oh, I mean, I have no idea what you just said about that area, but yeah, I've drove through there a couple times. I do have family that lives there, but you know, it's been a long time since I've seen my aunts and uncles that live there. So yeah, it'll be a good time. You know, NASCAR's big in that area. We'll also be by the F1 shop, which I think is not in the same building, but I think is close by. I think we're going to have some demos and stuff in there too. That'll be live. So it's going to be a good event. We'll probably talk about it and remind you just a little bit more at the end of the podcast, but, wanted to at least bring it up because it is a chance to, you know, get in front of other users, be able to, you know, talk to product management, talk to us. You know, we want to be there to help you guys out. We want this to be a community meeting. We want everybody to have a good time. This is going to be an annual thing that we're going to do. So, you know, we're looking to do this annually, and then we'll probably have even maybe some smaller like regional ones or whatever, you know, maybe at John Saunders or something like that, where everybody can come out and, you know, we'll have a good time and kind of do something similar. So who knows where the next one will be. But yeah, we look to continue to do this, and, you know, DSi really, you know, we want to be the face of Fusion, right? You know, if you're using Fusion and, you know, you're just buying it through Autodesk and, you know, and going about, you know, using it that way, there's a lot of people that are self-serve, that works fine for. But there's also a lot of people that need help, need questions. You know, I think like we talked about before, Phil, I would have loved to have had a reseller that could train some of my guys, because, you know, you run into that issue where you have like, you know, a dime holding up a dollar. You know what I mean? I can't go through and train you on the stuff that I need to do when I have other stuff I need to do. You know, and if I'm going to show you how to do it, I might as well just do it myself and spend less time not, you know, teaching you how to do it. So it's good to be able to do that and work with a reseller. You have a post, you have questions, Fusion's not working, you know, we literally work for you. So that'll be the last of the sales pitch for that. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's super entertaining for us too. I love having people have these little issues come in, or they want something custom from a post or something that's really neat and out there. I'm like, oh yeah, let me sink my teeth into this and help you out
and try to figure it out. It's problem solving. You know what I mean? I think that's why like I said before, that's why I like to be a machinist, because, you know, when you're in school and you have a problem, you have a certain way to solve it. You know, when you're a machinist, you pretty much have unlimited possibilities on how you want to process that part. You know, so there's no real right or wrong way if at the end you get a part that's within tolerance and the customer accepts it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it should be a cool event. IMTS was awesome. Our event should be awesome. What else we have going on?
We got a couple things. We did have some parts sent in. I think we'll probably look at one of those parts. I can pull it up here.
Yeah.
On my screen, because this is probably more of a part for you than it is for me.
Yeah.
It looks like something that I think you've made in the past.
I've probably made one or two of these.
Let's take a look at it. So hopefully you can see my screen if you're on the stream here, Phil.
Oh, and I should actually jump onto the stream so I can see it.
Yeah, just so you can chat. But it looks like we have a motorcycle fork leg here.
Nice. Give me 1 second to jump back into here. I gotta jump into the stream. I'm not even watching our own stream. What kind of a horrible host am I? maybe I'll turn the volume off there. Nice. Yes, I am. I'm pretty familiar with these. I've made one or two of these little things before in my time.
Does it matter if you're going to make just a prototype, like one or two, versus like production? Would you approach this differently? Because I think looking at it from my point of view, I would. If I was just going to make one of these, I would probably try to do it in like 2 ops or see if we could tab it off. I don't know if that's totally possible, but
yeah, I mean, I would definitely. Obviously, there's always a huge difference between production and prototyping, but yeah, I would definitely. Let's what we're talking about. Let's 3D print it while we're for production. There's some cool new tech for that.
We could put some latticing inside here or whatever.
Yeah,
print it.
We'll machine it for prototyping fun and 3D print it for production. We'll go the reverse of everyone else.
Would you ride a 3D printed one though? Because a little birdie told me one time, Phil, you used to make a lot of motorcycle parts, but allegedly not the biggest fan of motorcycles.
Well, things are death traps. I don't
know
why anyone
true?
rides them.
I find that absolutely insane that you made and designed so many motorcycle parts and you're not like totally in love with it.
I would be totally in love with them, but my wife wouldn't let me leave school zones when I'm driving, so I had to give that up.
So
no, they're cool. I've also way back when I thought I was some cool chopper kid, I made a bike in my garage, and that didn't kill me. It probably should have. So I've had a few close calls, enough to go, yeah, maybe I'll stick with a Prius or something.
So how would you go about making this?
So I have in the past done this exactly how you have it right there. One big block. I've actually, the way I've done them, on the bottom, I tossed in a couple of studs, like 5th axis rock lock studs, and I mounted this straight to my 0-point system. The video is a little bit delayed on my end, so bear with me, but
no worries. I think through telepathy, you could probably tell me what you would do, and we'll put them on there. Because I guess funny thing, I'm the one controlling the screen, and Phil's telling me how to do that. But so would you rough this just side one, or side 1, side 2, or rough it from the top first?
Yeah. So the way I would go is rough it down basically to that top section, the top where the fork mounts, and then I would go through, finish the internals. So bore down properly, thread it, add my seals. That way I still have an absolute ton of material to work with that's really going to hold that rigidly. So I'm not going to rough it the whole way down. I'm just roughing it down to that top face. And then finishing all the high tolerance parts. And then I'm going to come in half and half, start working my way around. Just watching the simulation is quite nice. Programming this is as I'm going, nice. But yeah, exactly like that. But I probably start going, half and half, start roughing things out, still leaving a ton of room on the bottom, so I wouldn't go all the way past where the axle would go. I definitely modeled in myself a little pedestal down there, but
is that normally what you do, and then you just add that to the setup to not be?
Yeah, exactly. I always make a nice big beefy pedestal, and I just slowly work my way down, just so I can keep all that meat at the bottom, and so it's not flimsy in the setup. But I'll do a lot of parallels and rotaries on this part for finishing. So it's a lot of roughing, rough out major components and then kind of finish as you go. So anything that's going to be forward, sort of customer facing, or pieces that I will rough out first, rough and finish, and then I'll work my way around again. So a little bit toward like the bike side, I'm probably going to do last, but everything on the external side is what I'll start with first. And that way you always have meat. I love having a lot of meat left when I'm doing finishing. I don't want little chatter vibration marks on anything people are going to see. So I try to always leave as much as I possibly can. But yeah, always lots of verticals, lots of vertical lines, lots of rotaries and parallels.
So
And
like
I would probably,
these flat surfaces here, you'd probably just do a parallel on and then do something to clean up the wall, the outside edge.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
that seemed to be
So
kind of a signature that I've seen you do before.
yeah, lots of lots of my biggest one that I've always liked was uh, contours with a ball nose around pockets on the inside. Two step overs is what I always do. And then I parallel the inside. So you get really nice, clip, crisp, kind of radius edges all the way around, and then a really nice parallel step over between. And yeah, you can probably see these on my Instagram. I've got quite a few examples of those.
Yeah, you've made this part right here. Very similar.
Hey, look at that.
And was this 3+2 over here? Just positional, or did you do it simultaneous?
There was a little bit of simultaneous in some of the pockets, just so I can keep that tool short. And because Fusion's just so good at that collision avoidance with steep and shallow. So I'll do a little bit of steep and shallow on the walls if I can, but try and keep as much straight lines as possible. I feel a lot of people overuse scallop and other kind of 3D tool paths just because they're so easy, but the visual kind of appeal of just those vertical, nice, straight lines is really what kind of is going to set your part kind of apart from everyone else's. You could just go through here and scallop everything and make it really quick, have that part dumped out like same day, or you can go in and, actually match tool lines and make it look very visually appealing. Your part's always going to stand out from the rest, just from those literally just changing a tool path. You make it all the same, but you make a little bit nicer of a tool path, and people really notice that.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. You know what I mean? I think there's always that balance between, do I make this look like jewelry? Do I have a 8,000 step over when, 20 or 30 might be sufficient? And then thinking about, if I am surfacing this thing and 20 would be fine. If I make it 5,000s, I just made it 4 times as long, and will it look 4 times better? Or is it going to look 15% better? You know what I mean? And kind of dealing with that. But sometimes you just turn the lights off in the shop, leave the compressor running, and just walk away and just let it eat.
Yeah, exactly. But I find for a lot of parts like this, heavy step overs look so nice. It looks kind of mechanically, it looks kind of racy. If you were to go really, really fine, the part would almost get lost. Like it just looks like a standard part. But once you start really adding those big step overs, it kind of almost brings the part to life. It brings a lot of depth out. You get a lot of play with shadows when you're outside or when you're anodizing, if you can find a good anodizer. So heavy step overs is my big thing.
Sounds like we hit a nerve.
Oh, I swear there's a global conspiracy with plating companies to always scrap everything you do and then be confused why that happened. It's like everyone I talk to has issues with plating. I'm not sure how many things you've had anodized, but they're
I mean, anodized, chem film, primer, paint.
Yeah.
Stuff gets messed up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not everything will always meet your expectation. But I used to actually make suspension. The first machine shop I ever worked at, we made sprint car suspension. And so I'm pretty familiar with like anodizing, and we would, this might give it away, but our shocks were purple. So if we got shocks back that were kind of misanodized and they were really light purple, they looked like they were pink. And that was a problem. And there were some companies that had like electric anodizing machines where like, the first part or the 1,000th part will always come out the same. And I don't think that quite lived up to the hype. But what is this thing that's on there? This reservoir or whatever. So is it for compression or rebound?
Yeah, that was kind of our manual compression, or was it rebound? I can't even remember which one that was actually for, but that was a manual system we developed. So this was supposed to be like a lot of the high-end race bikes would be kind of all, you would add like a bunch of telemetry systems to it, and So you could add some like ferro fluid inside, and then the computer would figure out the right tensioner. But we decided it'd be kind of cool to make our own little system. So we had basic compression rebound at the top of the fork, like most. And then this was that added little extra. So when you're really getting down and kind of hitting through those corners, you could really adjust those very fine-tuned little details.
What is this little tie rod here?
That is actually a telemetry sensor. So that goes to the computer, and that'll tell you when you're kind of leaning
for stroke
through
distance or something like that.
Yeah, and how much your bike's kind of flexing as you're kind of racing through. So this was actually for a race bike that we built. That unfortunately, right as we kind of finished it, COVID hit, and we weren't able to bring it down to the States to go through a couple of races. So we just had this really fancy race bike we couldn't use. Yeah, carbon fiber forks, fork tubes. It was pretty wild. I think there ended up being 240 some parts on that bike that I made. Like it was ridiculous.
That's a lot.
That was a lot of parts.
But again, still boggles my mind that you're not like super big into bikes.
Yeah, I mean they're big and heavy. Give me a pedal bike. I'll jam on a pedal bike all day. I mean, these things are fast, and I'm tiny. I'll bruise easily.
Who else should we take a look at here?
You can see I've had like 4 cups of coffee today, and I'm just jittery.
Let's look at Amish's Instagram. Give this a nice little review.
Oh yeah, Mr. Always on Vacation, who's actually, if people don't know, is on vacation right now.
Come on.
He is
always on vacation.
Always on vacation.
This looks like a pretty fun part.
I'll give him credit. He takes some pretty good photos.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's got a 65 monoblock.
Yeah, it's a nice machine. And if you haven't seen that video, LTT, and his tech tips, he made the turn the old YouTube. What was that? The diamond or something?
Yeah, the diamond play button.
Yeah, and he turned that into a computer for them, or he milled that into the case for a computer they built, and that was pretty rad. He made a pretty slick video for that too. He's actually, I'll make fun of almost every single chance I get, but he's a good machinist, and he's good with a camera.
Oh yeah,
and good at booking flights and hotel rooms.
Did you ever do this? Did you ever draw pictures on your stuff?
I don't think I ever went that far. The old Johnny 5.
I sketched a Ninja Turtle one time on a block that ended up getting vaporized.
Oh yeah.
This looks like
I don't know if I went that far. Part.
I think we actually helped. I think DSi actually helped program this a little bit.
I think so. Yeah, Power Mill.
This was
not even Fusion. Yes, no one pay attention. This is don't look. This is a Power Mill part, not a Fusion part.
I mean, it was 161 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was fine. He's moved on since then. Old Fusion now, as everyone should be. At least I say that. I mean, old cam systems are actually pretty rad. Let's give them all credit.
Yeah, I mean, I think every cam system does stuff, really good. Have you ever used, what other cam systems have you used?
Oh man, I have gone through Esprit, Master Cam, Gibbs Cam, and CamWorks, and then finally settled on Fusion, and that's where I've been doing nothing but Fusion since 2016 now. Yeah, never jumped into the NX. Never had anything big or fancy like that. I think I've opened Power Mill twice since I have access to it. But yeah, Fusion's my jam.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to do. I think correlating it like this. I mean, I think Fusion is. There's a reason why Autodesk bundles Fusion with everything, right? Autodesk, obviously, the future of making for Autodesk is Fusion. But even like a Power Mill user, there's simple things they do that could be done inside of Fusion, maybe even better or faster. power mill sometimes is like cracking a peanut with a sledgehammer. You know what I mean? It's just way overkill, you know, especially if you're just making soft jaws or something to set up a job. It is easy to do that in Fusion, to visualize it, to even make that little work holding package and then import it into Power Mill. You know, I've done that a little bit. I've played with Power Mill. The workflow is definitely different. You know, when you go from like HSM or like even Master Cam, the workflow is a little bit different. You know, it's not pick a tool, you know, choose your tool path, pick a tool, choose your step down, step over, feeds and speeds, and send it. It's a little bit different the way you have to kind of make some things and go about programming and processing a part. But it is really powerful software. You know, it does very, very hard things really easy, and very, very easy things sometimes a little bit harder. Where, you know, people ask me this all the time. I mean, how many times have somebody sent you like a Fusion or like a turbo impeller for a demo, and they're like, "Hey, I want to see you do this in Fusion," and you know, we have to like ask the question of like, "Is this really what you wanted to see?" Or like, "How many of these do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, none. I just want to see what it can do." It's like, well, let's actually look at what you're trying to do, because, you know, to be 100% honest, you know, could Fusion make one impeller if you were going to do one a year? You know, I think a great answer for that is, yeah, it could, right? You're going to spend a lot of calories making that part. But if you only had to make one a year, it'd be fine. You know what I mean? If you were making 6 impellers every day different on a 5-axis or 10 or, you know, whatever, if all you did was make impellers, buy something else today, because Fusion's not great at that. You know what I mean? You're going to spend way too much time, and I would much rather have like the right tool for the job. You know, I think Rob Lockwood says the same thing. You know, NX does everything that he wants to do, and it does everything that I want to do. And there's a reason why I don't use it. You know what I mean? Just exactly. It's really, really powerful. It does some stuff really, really well. But even when I was, you know, making parts in the shop all the time, I used NX I had to learn it backwards. I couldn't do like a simple like facing operation, but I could do a 5-axis like corner pick and whatnot. And, you know, it's really good at doing things like that. But you can spend, I mean, when I tell you, you can spend 3 hours making a tool path exactly the way you want it to be, you can do that. You don't have there. I mean, there's no tool path in Fusion that you can spend 3 hours, you know, changing all the setting and getting, you know, wildly different results. It's just kind of more of like that easy button for a lot of things. Although it is really powerful, you know, especially when you start looking at steep and shallow with all the, you know, tool orientation options, where essentially you've kind of split your pattern from how the tool is going to move around the part. Right. And that's one of the biggest things that I struggled with in the past in Fusion was just, you know, Fusion was great. It did a lot of what I wanted to do, but like a Swarf, for example, Swarf is an okay tool path when you have good geometry, when you can, you know, sometimes you have to make helper geometry to do that, but it could be better. You know what I mean? The hard thing was, it gave me a result, but it's kind of shitty. It's not smooth. Somebody's got to blend this out when the part, you know, comes off the machine, just because, you know, I can't fix this, or as much as I can fix this, it's still not giving me the result I want. But in those cases, I would go into Siemens and just make the tool path and make a subroutine to do that part of the program.
Yeah. Join them all together in CAMplete and off you go.
Yeah, you could certainly do that. But yeah, I mean, I used Mastercam for a really long time. I liked it. I don't think there wasn't really anything that I couldn't do at the time. Granted, I wasn't running like 5-axis machines when I used it. And I mean, I started with a really old version of Mastercam V9, which is like from 2001. It's like the black screen with the green lines and everything. And so
wireframe everything.
Yep. So I used that for a really long time. You know, it was good, but, you know, honestly, my journey with Fusion was, you know, I was literally at the shop and I saw on my lunch break a video of John Saunders, like, you know, who knows when this was, 2014, 2015 or something, but showing this Fusion 360. And I mainly was interested in it because the drawing looked so good, right? It was cool that it had the cam, but I knew like if I could make the model and bring it into Mastercam better, it would be, you know, it would help my workflow. And so, you know, looking at Fusion and starting to learn it and realize, oh, this thing can do tool paths, you know, already and whatnot. And then, you know, like the versions of Mastercam, that I had didn't have the dynamic milling and OptiRough and stuff like that at the time, and Fusion did. It was like kind of crazy that you could just put this thing on there. I mean, I was used to drawing contours or doing pockets and things like that, and kind of programming a little bit more old school. And then you look at these things. I used to make a ton of parts out of steel and stainless steel and whatnot. And when you wreck the bottom 50 thousandths of that end mill, it's toast. You don't use it anymore. You got to go take it to a diamond wheel and clean it up, and then it becomes a rougher. But when you start using the adaptive clearing and that constant radial engagement and spreading that wear out over the flute, I mean, it was a big game changer for me. And honestly, once I understood the workflow in Fusion, I really never looked back. You know what I mean? And you also, at the same time, HSM works, and Inventor HSM, because they all use the same cam. Not anymore. Fusion is definitely updated and a little bit different, but that's where everything kind of came from. So
yeah, I just did my big one for a couple of years was Mastercam for SolidWorks. So having those two kind of connected together, it was good. I liked it, but it still felt difficult to do a couple of things. It was still more, I don't know how to explain it. It almost looks too professional for me to want to use, like just the way the software is kind of laid out. The one thing that has really drawn me to Fusion over and over and over again is it feels like you're using like a Google product or something. Like it's big buttons, it's kind of cartoony, it looks fun, it looks exciting to use. Like the way G Suite and like Gmail is I love those big bright buttons, and that's how kind of Fusion looks to me. It's like everything shows up. It's like it's exciting to click these buttons. While other softwares I've used, it just looks too, everything looks too corporate almost, and that just never kind of rung well with me. Like, it just doesn't stick here. I'm big and kind of visual person, and it's kind of a silly little thing because has nothing to do with how powerful the software is, but it just makes it kind of fun to use, at least in my opinion. I just quite enjoy it. It's just like a different aspect.
I mean, Fusion's obviously done a lot, I think, for all of us. You know what I mean? I think it helps grow businesses. You know what I mean? Because the big thing with like Mastercam, and the reason why I think, if you were starting a shop today, you're honestly insane if you were going to go, use a product like that, is just, it costs so much money just to get started. You know what I mean? Fusion is like a totally different business model. When you spend 30 grand on Mastercam, if you can't learn it, you're going to have to figure it out, because you're not going to abandon that initial investment. You know what I mean? You're going to, sit there and figure out what it is and learn how to do it, because you got a lot of skin in the game, honestly. And that's how they've traditionally, done that or sold that type of software, because you can make a lot of money with it. So, Fusion is more on the lines of like Netflix. If you don't like the shows, don't buy it. You know what I mean? But Netflix ain't going to make any money if you don't keep coming back and wanting to watch new shows, and neither is Autodesk, and the difference with those two kind of, subscription models is you have to be successful with Fusion for Autodesk to be successful. And people don't realize that, people, like, when you buy Mastercam, they don't care. They want your money. You know what I mean? They want your money. They want to provide you a tool, and they'll provide maintenance and service and things like that on it. When you buy a product that's $500, they're not, if they wanted your money, they would charge more for it. You know what I mean? Like, you get an awesome product that updates all the time. And then, if you don't come back the following year and renew it or get it again, just cut ties and whatever. But they have to, Autodesk and even DSi, we have to make sure our customers are successful with the product so that they keep coming back. Because there is no $30,000 skin in the game where we can go, well, that didn't work out, see ya. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. But well, everything's good. Anyway, so tried the program apart. I think there's a little bit of a delay. It's always kind of tricky to see the part. I mean, it'd be fun to do a lot more of those. Yeah, it's a bit of delay between the YouTube live and what I see. That makes it a bit tricky. But what are there, for anyone that's watching, what are the kind of things you think we should we should get up to in this podcast. We talk a lot about Fusion and what it's like to be a reseller and kind of how we can help in the events that we're doing. But what other kind of things what other industry things should we kind of reach out to and kind of talk about?
Yeah, let us know. Let us know down in the comments. Let us know in the chat right now. We're obviously open to, looking at stuff. We want this to be beneficial. Just kind of a conversation. It's pretty loose. We don't have a format. It'll probably eventually get more structured where we talk about certain things. But really, honestly, we're just having a conversation about two machinists or ex-machinists that work together now. So
yeah, I see him every day. Almost too often now. Virtually, yeah. I should wear a black shirt though, so I could we can have full inverse images.
Kind of the yin and yang.
Yeah, there you go. What else is new? What's going on in your life?
I might be moving back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still terrifying to me, but
not Chicago, but
not inner city Chicago.
Yeah, not downtown Chicago, like northwest suburbs.
Nice.
But
you're thinking about doing that pretty soon because you're in Texas now. So it's got to be
we're in Houston. I don't not like Texas. I think Texas is awesome. I was born in Green Bay, Wisconsin, so I'm kind of a polar bear. I really like the cold. I like Christmas when there's snow on the ground. And last Christmas here, I remember it was like 80 degrees or whatever, and I was unloading something in my garage, just sweating in December, going, man. And people are like, oh, it's getting so nice, but 85 or 75 degrees to these people are like, oh, that's a nice day. You know what I mean? For me, I want it to be like 60s. That's a little bit more refreshing for me than it being so hot. So yeah, we're just looking to kind of move the kids, mainly for the kids and whatnot. I have a lot of family and friends in Chicago.
You just come out to Victoria. It'll be perfect weather every day.
Yeah. Well,
we do get,
I'm not dealing with that layover though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna row a boat or something. There's a ferry too, right?
There is. I still got to take that over to Seattle. Apparently there's a walk-on ferry we can go take, the Clipper. And it's like a 2-hour trip, but we just go downtown Seattle, hang out for the day, and come back. So I got to make that trip one day. But it's pretty nice. We were talking to my new neighbors, yesterday. Apparently we get possibly one snow day a year. Like it snows once a year here. And when it does, they just shut the city down because no one knows how to deal with it. And this is not what I'm used to. I'm used to 6 feet of snow and 4 to 5 plow trucks heading down the highway every single day, and being at minus 40, just awful temperatures for months. Apparently, it's like a couple months of rain here, then possibly one snow day. Like nothing. So that'll be nice. And then it's just it is October. It's almost November, and I have flowers blooming in my backyard.
Really?
This is Usually back home, everything's brown and dead by now.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I got flowers growing.
I'm used to
I got to become a good gardener.
Oh, yeah. You've been doing some renovations on your house?
Yeah, a couple. And there's going to be a few more. This house is 1945.
Well, that's definitely older than you.
Definitely slightly older. Only by age, though, not by experience. But we did some painting. I've ripped out all the carpets, and we got to refinish the hardwood floors. But the weird thing about being on an island here is we rented a floor sander to do our floors, and nowhere had sandpaper. We just couldn't do it. It's like we had the machine. They would rent you the machine, but they wouldn't give you the sandpaper to actually do the job. Like, I don't understand the point of this.
So what did you do?
I just threw an area rug down at the moment. Basically just put carpet back on until we can get some sandpaper and kind of go through and finish the house. But yeah, that's kind of going slow progress. I went to go install, you can't really see, I went to go install a little smart plug over here so I can have some cool tech in the office. Took the plug off the wall, or took the switch off the wall, and that original 1940s asbestos wiring is still back there, crumbling apart. There's just like bare wires hanging back there. It's like, oh, put everything back in, hope for the best. Maybe it'll last a couple more days until I can rewire the whole freaking house. So I'm going to play electrician for a little bit here. Maybe one day I'll replace the wiring in one room or something. I don't know.
Was that
I'll just burn the house down.
I'm going to show everybody right now the picture you sent in the Slack about the spiders and whatnot.
Oh man, yeah.
This was at your new house.
This is at the new house. Oh!
This is not photoshopped.
I went to go hook up our internet and opened the box, and that's what was there.
Some of these were not alive, but some were alive.
Yeah, some were dead. Some were probably eaten by the live ones. But I had to navigate that to get my internet.
I mean, is that looks like a wolf spider? But
look at the size of that thing.
This one was alive.
Oh man, that was alive.
That one looks pretty healthy. This one, that might be. It's. I mean, I'm not a
That's dead.
biologist or anything, but.
God, look at that. That was the gatekeeper of my internet.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I almost.
But you got it hooked up.
I would. Yeah, I was close to just selling the house at that point. It's like,
well, you open this up and
you're
like, no thanks.
Yeah, it was like the first day we moved in. I'm like, nah, we'll sell it now. There's no point anymore.
Did your wife see this?
Oh, she did. Yeah, and she screamed.
My wife would never sleep in the house if this was attached to our house and the outside. She would want to go to a hotel for the night.
I was contemplating between that and the ghosts that we just assume we have because it's an old house. We might even import some like cursed dolls or something just to make it feel kind of homely. Yeah, but man, that was creepy. That was awful. I would try and poke that thing with the broom, and it just took the broom away from me and started swatting back at me. It was wild.
I couldn't imagine.
No, it was horrible. The thing pays rent now, though, so that's okay.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, good tenant.
How is the internet on the island?
It is actually lightning fast. I don't know what they're doing out here, but I'm pretty sure all the cables are like a run under the sea, too, to get here, but I don't know, man. Those fish maintain the internet pretty well. Between the fish and the spiders, we have some pretty good internet here.
Nice. I had when I moved into this house here in Houston, I had two options. It was like go with Xfinity and get 1,000 gigabyte download, or go with AT&T and we get 75 megabytes per second. And I was like, well,
Sheesh.
I got two like adolescent children and my wife that are streaming stuff nonstop, so we'll be pretty.
So AT&T you went?
No, I had to go. I had to go with Xfinity and get that download speed. But
yeah, I don't know. I think we're at like 650, 700 here, which is pretty good for anywhere I've been in Canada, at least. We didn't even have that in Calgary, and we were like, that's where the internet company started, was there. But yeah, it was good. We're doing good now. Everything's nice, other than the horrible electric in the house. At least the garden looks good. We have an amazing front and back garden. I'm huge in having nice gardens. I love them. I love gardening. I don't know what I'm doing, but I just love doing it.
Well, here's the question of the day. Is that plant in the background real?
It is real.
Really?
I couldn't tell you what it is. Some sort of spider plant or something.
Well, hopefully those spiders aren't in there.
That's a good call. They could be.
That's a good question.
There's actually a giant fake plant over here.
Allegedly.
But it stays green all the time. Yeah, we're thinking about maybe putting a pond back. I'm thinking of it. I think my wife thinks it's a silly idea. But I like it. Yeah, other than our horrible electric, that's pretty nice. So hopefully you'll find something in Chicago that's maybe newer than 45.
1945, you mean? So 55 plus 22. I mean, that's pretty spicy. That's a pretty old house.
Pretty old house.
Yeah. Yep.
Right on.
So, I mean, we can start to wrap this up. I
got 3 coffees that are gonna go through me pretty quickly here.
So yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I think we want to just go over and just make sure everybody knows is the Fusion Summit here coming up, December 6th and 7th. It's going to be a good time. Going to be some insider stuff there. These are some of the people that are coming. There's obviously more that are not on there. I just confirmed that Brad Tallis, who does a lot of the Fusion 360 lives, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be in attendance.
Nice.
So, event registration's up here. If you want to buy a ticket, and there is an after party. Time is right here. You can sign up for it here. You do have to sign up, I guess, to get into this. But yeah, we hopefully will see everybody there. And if you guys,
it should be a pretty good time.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about, anything or whatever, just hit us up on, Instagram, send us an email, whatever. I don't know about you, Phil, but I pretty much answer everybody who has a legitimate question for me on Instagram. I do get a decent amount of messages and questions and whatnot, so I answer everybody.
Yeah, I try to. Some messages get buried some days when you get 20 or 30 in a row. But yeah, I try and answer everything I possibly can. Yeah. So yeah, hit us up on Instagram, hit us up by email, or LinkedIn if you ever use that. I barely use it.
Oh, I just get bothered by all the notifications on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, so-and-so viewed your profile. Do you know this person? I was like, no. But it's good to have it for business and networking.
Yeah, exactly.
So perfect.
Hey,
as long as we keep the pictures professional on there, Phil.
Yeah, there might be a few floating around.
We gotta watch out with you. We gotta watch out with you.
A lot of pink underwear out there.
Allegedly. But all right, everybody, we appreciate you coming by. We look to do, obviously, we're going to do more of these in the future. If you have any questions or ideas, there's a form link in the description. If you want to submit a part, we'll look at those a little bit more, try to get a little bit better format on that. Maybe even have some stuff just pre-done on it. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of cool going through a part in real time because, I run into situations, Phil, where maybe I want to do it with this tool path and it doesn't work. And then I do something else, you know what I mean? Or I use steep and shallow instead of parallel.
Exactly.
To get my desired result just because, it did this or it got this little area and when the other one didn't. I do apologize about the audio issues. I can clearly see it and monitor it now. But yeah, anything else, Phil? You want to sign off?
Yeah, I think we should go. I can feel my tummy rumbling.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We appreciate you stopping by. And I don't know what should our sign off be. I think somebody uses stay sharp, but I kind of like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Stay
safe, stay sharp.
Yep. Take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.
See you guys.